a subscriber to the channel asked me if I can speak about the Via Ferrata sets with swivels. So yes, I can do that. Here I am. I have these are the Via Ferrata sets I use. Well, that I have. This one I don't use, and I will explain in a moment why. I have a couple of carabiners here as well, and I will explain why I brought them with me next to the Via Ferrata sets. So, I have a subscriber to the channel saying, I would love to buy a Via Ferrata set for myself, but I'm checking for the swivel. I don't trust it that much. What is the thing with the Via Ferrata sets having a swivel? Well, I've said this many times in the past. I will repeat it now. It really doesn't matter what Via Ferrata set you buy in terms of safety. They are all made to conform to the same safety standard. Let's see if on them it is written somewhere. I'm checking. Maybe not. I have it here. EN 02123. Yes. EN 958 2017. And probably more. It is written on that. Let's see on this one. Let's check for the same. It should be here somewhere. EN, I have it here. Let's see. Does it say the address, the serial number? No, not there. Not here. Here. EN 958 2017. And as I was saying here, it is written EN 958 2017. I will open this one out of curiosity. This is a bit special, not special, different. A lot different actually. It is from Black Diamond and it says EN 958 2017. These are camp as well, so definitely if this is camp and it is written, definitely the other two will have it as well. So when it comes to safety, they all are supposed to do the same thing. Where it starts changing or diversifying is when it comes to how our brain perceives each one of them. And I will explain in a moment why I'm saying this. And then comfort. The more you spend, the expectation is to get better comfort. For example, with a cheap, I don't have them, but with a cheaper Via Ferrata set, you might get this type of carabiner. It's not bad. I use this type of carabiner, identical to this one. They are from two different manufacturers. This is Climbing Technology and this is Singing Rock. Singing Rock. They are precisely like they're identical, like really identical. Only the manufacturer changes. And cheaper Via Ferrata sets will have them. I use them for my resting system. They are very good. They do a fantastic job. I highly recommend them. I have a couple of them because they are so good. When it comes to them being part of your Via Ferrata set, it requires a bit more hassle when you do the anchor point transition. Imagine that on a Via Ferrata you might get to a point where you'll transition 500 times. You'll have to do this 500 times. It's not bad. It only requires extra effort and more precision when operating the transition. They are not bad, but this is the cost you pay when you'll aim at saving money. There is nothing bad with trying to save money. If you are an occasional Via Ferrata climber, if you don't have money, then just buy a Via Ferrata set because, as I was saying, they all are supposed to achieve the same performance when it comes to safety. And what interests you, first of all, when going on a Via Ferrata is to be safe. You start paying a bit more, and from Petzl, you'll get Via Ferrata sets that have this type of carabiner. Same way of operating it, but it is better. Don't ask me to explain how. When I compare the two, somehow this one is a slightly better, not I feel it differently. So at the end of the day, they are the same. I started to love these ones a lot, like a lot. In terms of strength, they should be very close. This is 25 kilonewton by 10 by 8, and this one is even better, 30 by 10 by 10. So practically, on paper, this type of carabiner, let's see this one here, 38.8. This one from Climbing Technology is the strongest, follows this from Petzl, and then this one from Singing Rock. When it comes to price, I think this is the order. Petzl the more expensive and cheaper. I think this is when it comes to cost to price. So, cheap Via Ferrata set, cheap. A normal Via Ferrata set. A bit more expensive Via Ferrata set. Nothing else changes. When you'll check Via Ferrata sets online, you'll see only the carabiner is the one changing. Then, when they get into the next class, you'll have two variations. One of them is this type of carabiner. You have here this lever, and this is how you operate them. Same, this is how you operate them. Same, this is how you operate them. This is good. This increases your comfort by a lot. To me, and in my opinion, it is worth the extra money because I don't have to go so close to the safety steel cable or to the bolt to take it out. I only have to do this. Same here. I only have to do this. Believe it or not, the more transitions you'll make and the more difficult the Via Ferrata gets, you need this comfort. The more comfort your equipment provides, the better it gets when you'll start touching your difficulty limit. Because each one of us has, by default, based on how we live our lives, a difficulty level limit. I've started straight from D. It appears D was achievable. Other people start from Via Ferrata level B, and then they progress to level C. Maybe level B, it is your comfort zone. The moment you go to level C, it will get difficult for you, and having more comfort will help you to better do the transition. Now, so, cheap, a bit more expensive, even more expensive, with this type of carabiner. So, the standard Via Ferrata set will come with something like this, then or like this, or similar. Then, the more you pay, the carabiner will be replaced by this. The rest will remain the same, plus minus. For example, Edelrid, in their Via Ferrata Sets line, they also differentiate through how heavy and big, how heavy overall the Via Ferrata set is and how large the shock absorber. Yes, this is what happens with Edelrid, for example. But the main differentiator in terms of price will always be the carabiner. Then the last, on top of a pyramid, is this one because it is heavier. On top of a pyramid sits Same carabiner, but you have the swivel. Petzl, Camp, I don't remember whom else sells a Via Ferrata set with a swivel. I know for sure Petzl, Camp I have it, but I don't remember whom else. Maybe Edelrid as well, maybe. This is the most expensive Via Ferrata set, and the benefit of paying so much is only in the promised comfort, nothing else. I will explain in a moment what that means. Let's shortly, in case it's your first time ever watching something like this, explain what a Via Ferrata set is, what can it be used for, and by whom. Well, the Via Ferrata set is this device here. It is a safety item. It is composed of a couple of elements. You have this thing here, which is a bit bulky. You'll see it here as well. And look, we have it here as well. The name of it is the shock absorber. This shock absorber, this one is different than this one in terms of how it works, how it functions. This one here, let's see if I can pull it out, utilizes friction. It is why I don't use this Via Ferrata set, because next to stitching the lanyard, you also have this metal plate that introduces friction. It's not bad. At the end of the day, it is the same standard, but is not the same as this one, where the shock absorber, it's only a stitched lanyard. This one is a stitched lanyard as the other one, but at the same time, see it is stitched, it has this metal plate here, and its objective is to introduce also friction. It's not bad. It only helps even more. What I'm pointing is, not all Via Ferrata shock absorbers are identical, and that's okay. Good. I should give away this. Why don't I use it? Is because I don't find myself well with this type of carabiner. I never used it. I always kept it as a backup in case something happens. Now, this Via Ferrata set, in probably 2 years since I have it, it never touched the cable. This type of equipment has a sitting lifespan of 10 years. It was produced in 2020. So now we are in the 3rd year since it was engineered, produced, manufactured. And then, if I don't use it at all, I can store it for 7 more years and still use it, expecting plus minus the same efficiency. I think I'm storing them very well. So that's that. I'm confident I'm doing a very good job at storing the equipment. If I will find someone in need, I will definitely give it away, because I can. And if it can help someone, why not? It is brand new, 3 years since being manufactured. It is okay. It was stored in the same place as the other Via Ferrata sets. I was saying, a Via Ferrata set has a shock absorber, and I showed you the 2 types of shock absorbers. One is based only on stitched lanyards. It uses, when deploying the stitches, to absorb the shock. The other one has a stitched lanyard plus a friction plate, a metal plate that introduces friction, and that's okay. Good. So this is that. Then you have these arms. All Via Ferrata sets have two arms. All of them. This is what makes them a Via Ferrata set. The shock absorber and these two elasticated arms. The idea of these two elasticated arms is at any time when you progress, you should have both connected to the safety steel cable. Then, when you have to do the anchor point transition, you disconnect one, the other one stays connected, you move it above the bolt, then this is connected, and now you disconnect this one, so you'll be always connected, and you connect this above. You can check on the channel the full explanation and the visual of how to do the anchor point transition to understand why you have two elasticated arms and how to utilize them. And then, of course, you have the carabiners. And this is what makes a Via Ferrata set. It is foundational when it comes to Via Ferrata. You have to have a sitting harness, the Via Ferrata set, and the helmet as a base. You should never go on a Via Ferrata without these three items. And then many more come into the list. And ideally, you will have them with you. Good. So this is that. By whom this Via Ferrata set can be used? Well, this is a very good question. All of them will say more than 40 kilograms and less than 120. What is the idea of, in a moment I'll go to the swivel and answer to the subscriber to the channel. Why is more than 40 and less than 120? More than 40 to make sure the shock absorber will deploy when you'll fall. Less than 120 to make sure the lanyards will not break while falling. That's that. It is why you have these limits. More than 40 kilograms to make sure it actually deploys, because otherwise, if it doesn't deploy, it will be a static fall and it will affect your entire body. Well, it will be probably a child, and the body of a child will be severely injured or affected. And then less than 120, because if you weight more, then any element in the system might break and you'll fall to the ground. And of course, most probably, certainly you'll die. Good. So this is that. This is why you have these limits. Of course, when they say more than 40, it means the body weight plus a backpack or whatever. So it's not only your body weight, it is including the backpack. When they say less than 120, same thing. It should be your weight plus shoes, clothing, and any other gear. In total, you should have no more than 120. I reach, when I go on the mountain with all the equipment, at around 110, 150 kilograms, plus minus. So I'm almost there to the limit, which is not comfortable. Unfortunately, very hard for me to lose more weight. I probably can get away with 5 kilograms, but to get rid of 10 kilograms, probably I have to starve to be able to do that. Good. So that one is that. So all Via Ferrata sets, in terms of safety, they do the same thing. They are supposed to achieve the same result, which is keep you safe no matter what. And they do that. It doesn't matter which one you buy. Well, try to buy from recognized manufacturers. It's not that I'm not encouraging you to support smaller businesses, but make sure when you buy it, it actually is certified and will protect you. So check on the set that it has the safety certification. When it comes to safety, all of them, no matter how you pay, they will achieve exactly the same thing. It's not that if you pay top-notch dollar, pound, euro, or any other currency on this one, that you are better protected. It's not that your safety increases, because at the end of the day, it is a matter of the shock absorber deploying the weakest links into the system and so forth. What changes when you start spending more and more is your comfort. Nothing else. This one, for example, way more heavier than this one. Way more heavier. I can feel it in my hand. These ones are plus minus the same. This is the before last version from Camp. Then recently, I think this year, if not end of last year, they released this new version. And what changes is how they pack the shock absorber. Then the carabiners are different. I can tell you here it is on the new one is smaller, and then overall they are the plus minus the same. It appears here this side is smaller as well. These ones in the past I had some issues. These ones they work very well, and you can feel it when it comes to the system here. This one poses more resistance. I feel them like being way better. When I've seen them releasing, my go-to Via Ferrata set was, for the past years, this from Camp. I liked it. It did a very good job. I bought out of curiosity this one from Edelrid. It is amazing. The carabiners are fantastic, but I still liked this one. I bought this one from Black Diamond, but the carabiners are just not for my hand. Maybe for a woman, maybe not for me. So I stick with Camp. When they released these new versions, I bought this one as a replacement for this one. And then, after thinking over and over again, what else should I buy? If should I buy this or not, because I have so many, I didn't need it one more. But I was curious about the experience this Swivel can provide. Psychologically, I'm still not adjusted. I still see this Swivel as a weak link into the system. I couldn't find anywhere a test, a specification, something saying this Swivel was tested and is capable of withstanding all these case scenarios and all this abuse without ever breaking. I'm a bit afraid. Let's suppose these two elasticated arms here, they provide redundancy, but this one, if by any chance when you fall somehow it touches the rock or the bolt, maybe it snaps, maybe, who knows. They definitely tested it. It is fitting the safety standard, so no issue there, but to me, psychologically, I still have to adjust at the idea of having this piece of complexity introduced into the whole system. In terms of comfort, yes, it pays off. Each time I'm using it, there is no hassle. And now I spotted me having actually the tendency to use it on extreme Via Ferrata, where I don't have a time or I don't want to be bothered by the need to untangle, because what can happen many times is this. You'll end up with the lanyards untangled like this. And now you have to spend the time to do this and then continue. And you have to do this many times. And it takes a toll on you. With this swivel here, it just rotates by itself. They are always this way. You only focus on progressing, nothing else. It is worth the money. It is extremely expensive. I don't believe this introduces increased safety into the system, but I do fear it might introduce redundancy and a weak link. It's not the case. They manufacture them, they sell them, both Camp and Petzl, and I think Edelrid has a swivel into their Via Ferrata Set line as well. So they do it. It means it works. I've seen for professional work swivels as well. They do exist on the market. They they serve a purpose and they do it very well. I'm confident this will work when under static load. My fear is what will happen if, as I was saying, by chance it touches here and the pressure is so much that maybe these bolts here are snapping. It is enough for them to snap just a bit, probably, for this to get out. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I'm confident it is more psychological than real fact. But you see, why don't they put it on the website? None of the manufacturers put on the website how they tested the equipment, and yes, it is what it is. Conclusion. The conclusion is, if you don't have the money, don't spend them. Just buy what you can afford. Will confidently do a very good job in terms of providing you with the required safety. Of course, here there is something to say, but this doesn't mean that this type of carabiner introduces a larger probability for humans to make errors. It might be that this type of carabiner will do that. What I'm trying to say is the type of carabiner, based on who you are as an individual, might facilitate human error. It can be this one, it can be this one, or this one. I think definitely this one in my case. So if you don't have the money, that's okay, and don't think too much. Just buy one and go out there, enjoy life, enjoy the experience. Make sure by having it to properly use it and stay safe. If you have the money, but you are undecided and you need me to convince you, then just buy it. Like, you don't need me to if you are still thinking about it, is either because you don't want to spend the money or you don't really need it. You might consider buying it just because it exists. And this is the problem with so many choices in everything. When you go in the supermarket, toothpaste, 200 of them. Even if you go to a single manufacturer, the brand, they'll have 20. Like, why? Yeah, at the end of the day, in the big scheme of things, all of them achieve the same result, like the Via Ferrata Sets. But of course, it is whitening, it is gum, I don't know what, and so forth. Too many options. And what happens here, you needing me to persuade you, is because we have so many options. And it is true. If I would have bought without, well, if I would have had the money, but not that much, and I would have bought this one thinking, well, it's the best out of all, I would have made a mistake. So unfortunately, there was nobody speaking about it to properly say, look, these carabiners here are a bit strange. Like, they put you in difficulty. They force you, you pay a lot of money, but they force you to operate in the same way as these ones. Because for me to be able to flip it on the cable, I have to do like this. And it cramps my hand. Not good. When with this one, I just do it with 2 fingers. So this is comfort provided by the carabiner. Here, I cannot do it. It's not enough for me to use on it. I can do it, but it's not enough. The effort is huge. And when you are on the rock, I can guarantee you this one will get you into trouble. So, if you have a money, but you are undecided, then just buy it. Because a swivel like this will just do wonders. Your experience will become top-notch. You will go up without thinking. You no longer have to stop and manage your safety system. Because when you go with a Via Ferrata set like this, let me remind you, this is what happens. You end up in this situation. And to resolve this situation, you have to detach one of them from the safety steel cable, disconnect them. When you get to this point, now you have to put this one properly. Then you have to disconnect this one. You have to do this one. You have to connect this one. And now you have it. And you keep doing this for the whole duration. Not comfortable. These carabiners, as I was saying, this one difficult to use. These two were quite the same. At the time, I liked this one better than this one because here the closing was stiffer. And I know you need stiffer mechanics when you want to connect. But with the new version, CAMP achieves the same thing. Actually, this one is way stiffer than this one. And it is good because sometimes on the cable, it might touch like this. And being stiff enough, then it jumps like this, which is good. It automatically closes practically. So yes, that one is that. In terms of being lighter, Edelrid, they sell a lot on using this feature of a product, which is the weight. Edelrid spends a lot of energy on pointing as a differentiator the weight of a Via Ferrata set. It really doesn't matter. When you go there up on the mountain, you'll have way more other problems. Now, I've seen Petzl is selling sitting harnesses, and I think Edelrid as well, that they say, well, this is extremely practically transparent on you. It is the lighter and less bulkier possible. Well, let me tell you that when you fall, you can feel how they tend to stretch. I don't advise you to exaggerate that much and try to buy the lightest of the lightest, and make sure you don't make the mistake of buying a sitting harness with the purpose of being used while mountaineering. When you mountaineer, going on glaciers, for example, the expectation there is to have crevasses, for example. You are connected with a rope and you fall into a crevasse. That fall, it is plus minus static, and also you have all the snow around you in case it breaks. The idea is usually mountaineering harnesses are for almost static loads. Don't go with a mountaineering harness on a Via Ferrata. Take a proper climbing sitting harness, because in case you fall, the load will be significant higher, and the type of harness you have with you really makes a difference. When even me or anyone else says, take a sitting harness, make sure you differentiate between the mountaineering sitting harnesses and the rock climbing sitting harnesses, the canyoneering or the adventure park sitting harnesses as well. The mountaineering sitting harnesses they might introduce weak links into your system. So try not to use that. Use rock climbing, adventure park, or canyoneering. I have one for canyoneering, and it is solid enough. I see it capable of withstanding a fall with my full body weight, with my full weight when I go on the mountain, which is my body weight plus the equipment and the backpack and everything else I have on me. This was it. Not that much. I stretched it. It's 40 minutes almost. When it comes to Via Ferrata Sets, it is more about just buy it because you have to use it. You have to have it when going on a Via Ferrata, and focus more on the adventure itself. Just get out there and enjoy life, because Via Ferrata allows us to see the mountain from a completely different perspective, from where maybe many times not even a rock climber can do it. But if you have the money, then yes, why not just jump a bit? You can buy a Via Ferrata set having this type of carabiner, but definitely this type of carabiners are better. Now, I've seen them around. Kong has similar, but they are too small. I don't like them. Petzl, they have similar, but more similar to this black diamond. I still have to try them properly. I don't know why I never bought a Petzl Via Ferrata set, but it really doesn't matter. Maybe this type of carabiner is good enough. Maybe I cannot guarantee for that because I never had the opportunity of working with them. I can certify for my case, Camp and Edelrid, they do an amazing job when it comes to this type of carabiners. If you have even more money and you can afford doing that, buy a Via Ferrata set with a swivel, but it is only for the comfort of progressing without thinking on the Via Ferrata, nothing more. In terms of safety, they are all identical. It's not that this one makes the whole thing safer. Not true. At the end of the day, imagine that what can here, let's suppose this swivel actually does a way better job than these stitches here. So let's suppose that. It really doesn't matter the stitches here because what matters is this lanyard. When you fall like this. The stitches, they have no job in there. But let's suppose the swivel, this whole mechanism here, it is rated 40 kilonewtons or 50, and it can take falls twice as big as this one. Let's suppose. But at the end of the day, you end up in the same case scenario where this one here, this piece of lanyard, as this one here, has to do a very good job. So yes, this doesn't break, but maybe this one is the weaker link, or maybe the knot here at the harness is the weaker link. So don't think, it might be that this swivel is very strong, maybe, even if my mind says the opposite, but just because you paid more, it doesn't mean this is safer than this one. Same standard. Maybe in a practical reality, maybe this is slightly better, but it is only a theoretical supposition because you never know what happens there on the mountain. And even if they're identical, if by any chance you hit something sharp and it cuts the Via Ferrata set, then that's that. It really doesn't matter. If you are with this one and you take a very, very, very bad fall and you are lucky, it will do an amazing job, and that's that back again. Don't buy something expensive thinking expensive means better. No, because all of them, indifferent of the manufacturer, they follow the same safety standard. I have 3 of them here, Black Diamond, Edelrid, and Camp. They all aim at passing the same safety tests. But because you have the money and you are not convinced, let me convince you, you should buy a swivel. If you have the money, buy a swivel. Don't, because I'm telling you why. You are wasting too much time trying to figure out what is better for you. Just buy it. You have the money, buy it, stop thinking about it, go up. If you have the money but you'd like to buy something else, then don't buy a swivel. Just buy something like this. You have the optimal comfort possible. Buy something like this and go out there. If you are an individual, well knowing your situation, that is, maybe you'll go every weekend, maybe not. Maybe you'll make a passion out of it, maybe not. But definitely you'll use the whole safety system for Via Ferrata. Then just go to a specialized shop and buy the most affordable for you Via Ferrata set. It can be one having this type of carabiners. It is okay. Buy it and shift your focus on going through the experience. I know it is psychological. You might think, oh, I have this one. I feel more confident because I paid. It's just psychological. It has nothing to do with reality. You're paying probably Petzl is more expensive than Edelrid and Camp, probably. Now you'll go and buy from Petzl thinking, well, Petzl has the brand recognition, the history. I feel more confident. Okay. But remember, at the end of the day, on all of them it says EN 958 2017, if I remember well. What was it? I think it was that. So it's the same safety standard. No, nothing. I have to always open. Okay. But I think it was that one. EN 958 2017. Let's see. Yes. So, okay. Go and buy Petzl. I like them. It is why I buy them. It's the only reason I buy them. I like the shape. But then what I realized in time, these ones are as good as this one. And I started to like them a lot. And by the way, this one is the strongest out of the three. So imagine that. Let's see, this was 30 by 10 by 10. This one here is 27 by 7 by 13, which is, I like the 13 because if you fall with the gate open, hard to believe, but let's suppose this happens. It touches the cable, and then when it breaks like this. It's 13 kilonewton compared to 10 here. This I like. This is the new Camp, new model. Let's see the old Carabiner from Camp. This was 28 by 7 by 12 compared to 27. So this closed was better than this one. Then it is 7 if it falls like this. And then this is 12, this is 13 with the gate open. The Black Diamond, it is 27, 8, 10, weak. And the Edelrid is 27, 8, 13. So 27, 8, 13 is the same with, this one is the strongest out of all. So Edelrid, it appears, builds the stronger Carabiner for their Via Ferrata Sets. I learned something new today. By a small margin. So practically this one, if falls like this, will withstand 8 kilonewton compared to this one withstanding only 7 kilonewton. Now when it comes to, this one is the one with a swivel. Now let's take the one without the swivel, considerably cheaper. It has 27, 7, 13, and this one has 27, 7, 13. So what changes and what you are buying is practically the swivel. The rest is identical. The shock absorbers, I guarantee you they are identical. Oh, look, the standard is here, E958 2017. Yes, done. I hope it helps you. If you do this every day, but you cannot afford the money, that's okay. If you can afford the money, or if you consider eventually spending a bit more, again, you are doing it every day, try and move to this type of Carabiner because it makes a difference. Should I recommend, well, I never used Petzl, for example, or other Via Ferrata sets. So maybe it can happen. Kong, Singing Rock, not Camp, Climbing Technology, even Petzl. It can happen that they have a very, very good Via Ferrata set, and I have no clue about it because I never tested it. From my experience, if I have to recommend something, I would say Camp. To me, Camp did the best job possible. But I made the transition, and I like as well the Edelrid. It is just good. It works. I don't know why I'm always going back to Camp. Maybe it is a psychological, emotional thing. I've started with Camp. I keep going with Camp in terms of the system for the Via Ferrata set. 50 minutes. Well, did you made it so far? Probably not. Oh, the subscriber, where is it? In case you watched for so long up to this point, this is the swivel. The big advantage of the swivel, can you see it? The big advantage of a swivel is this happening, nothing more. And each time you advance on the Via Ferrata, theoretically your lanyards will always be like this. If you don't buy a swivel and you'll buy something like this, they'll rotate, and you'll end up with something like this. And this forces you to stop and untangle them. And you of course, you cannot disconnect them both at the same time, which means one at a time. It takes time, effort, and if you're on a difficult Via Ferrata, it might get you into trouble. So definitely, if you don't feel confident up there, you don't know yourself, and you don't know how well can you do on a E level, for example, then definitely buy something that at least you don't have to think about that. At least that. This was that. Thank you.